Hey, welcome to my channel. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. We're going to smoke some chili. This is a great recipe that we've used a few times and it's been really popular around here. So we're going to get this on the smoker. It's really only about a 3 to 4 hour smoke, so it's really quick. The biggest time or challenge is the prep of getting it all ready to go. So we'll walk you through those steps and show you how we got to this beautiful finished product. And I'm going to show you just as a little bonus, because chili is not my favorite dish. This is a really good chili, but nonetheless I don't like beans and I don't like chili. So everybody else will enjoy this. I'll be having some delicious Rotel. So I'll walk you through how to do that as well. Alright, so for this first step we are going to brown some ground beef. We're going to get that into this pan and we're going to leave just a little bit of grease back in the frying pan so we can use that later when we saute the garlic. We don't put onions in our chili, but if you want onions in your chili, you would also use that grease to saute the onions as well. We're going to put it all in this cast iron pot, and this is going to go in the smoker just as is. We'll keep the top off of it, and then we'll check on it periodically. We'll go ahead and get the ground beef done, and we'll be back here in just a moment. Alright, so we're back. We've got the ground beef all browned, and it's here in this pan along with a lot of grease. We're going to go ahead and move it over to the cast iron pot. We're going to trace this over. We're going to leave about 4 tablespoons of grease in the pan. Alright, we've got that done. There's still some grease in there that we can use for the next step. So we'll go ahead and get that part done and we'll be back here in just a moment. Alright, so we're back with the chili. We've got ground beef still sitting here waiting. We've got the garlic all sauteed in the bottom of that pan along with some grease. So we want to keep the grease in here. So this is where the slotted spoon comes in handy. We're going to drain off that grease and then transfer the garlic and sprinkle that here on top of the ground beef. Now we're going to mix the flour in here. So we're going to do 2 heaping tablespoons of flour into this grease. I just learned that heaping apparently means don't level off the spoon, the measuring spoon. So, like all professional now, I'm a professional cook. Alright, so we'll keep mixing this up, and then we'll add some water to this until it gets to gravy consistency, and then we'll move on to the next step. Alright, so we're back. We've added the water. Really, that's all we did off screen was add the water to the pan here just to get that flour, that like gravy, flour and grease, that gravy consistency. So you can do that just, it's a couple of cups of water, or, however much you think you need to get to that consistency. So now we're ready to mix these ingredients. So we've got the tomato paste here. Get that in there. Alright, now diced tomatoes. Alright, so we've got those in there. And next we've got brown sugar, cinnamon, and some cayenne pepper. I'm just going to dump this on here. And then cheese. I'm just going to dump this whole thing in there. Alright. And these beef bouillon cubes. Alright. Now we'll just sprinkle this all through here. I'll take some pepper. Just do a couple twists of the pepper. And And then for salt, just do this to taste. So we'll just do about a pinch of salt. So now, next step, we're just gonna mix this up, put it on the pan, and we're really just gonna cook it long enough to melt the cheese. So it doesn't have to cook long. We're gonna just melt down this cheese and then transfer it over to the pan with the ground beef. Alright, so we're back. We've got the cheese mostly melted in here. There's a little bit of chunks in here, but that's alright. It'll all cook out and melt when we put it on the smoker. So we're gonna go ahead and take the lid off here. We're gonna transfer this all onto the ground beef. And try not to dump it all over myself. Now we're gonna mix this around really good. Sink down into that ground beef. And this is a recipe you can do without beans if you'd like. We initially tried that and then we got a lot of pushback from some of the people that really love their chili, and beanless chili just did not go over well with them. So we will add the beans here as well as soon as I get this mixed up. And for the beans, we have kidney beans, we have black beans, and some chili beans. Just mix it up pretty good there. So now we're ready to add the beans. It's a pretty tight fit, as you can see. I think we can get everything in there. Try to be very careful not to dump this all over myself, because all it's going to take is one wrong move and this is going to go all over my lap. Alright, so we got that mixed up. Now we're going to add this seasoning, about half of it in here. The other half will go on later, about an hour before we remove it from the smoker. Alright, so we'll leave a little bit in there. And now I got a fun task of trying to mix this up some more. We are using apple wood for the smoker. In the past, we've tried hickory. Hickory was just really strong smoky flavor, so we chose not to use it. The apple was much softer, and it's going to take about 3 to 4 hours. And every hour, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to mix it up a little bit, and then throughout that time frame, I'll add about 2 cans of beer to this. It'll overflow. Now, obviously, it's going to overflow. But it'll help keep that moisture while also adding some additional flavor, and then just help throughout the cooking process. So we're going to go ahead and get this on the smoker. It's at about 250 right now. We'll keep it going between 250 and 275 for the rest of the smoking time, and then we're good to go. So we'll be back here in a bit. Okay, so we're out here. We've got this on here. It's been on here for about an hour, and now we're ready to pour in the beer and mix it up a little bit. So as you can see, everything is full, very full. Let's go ahead and open this beer. Alright, so that's good and mixed. We'll just push this back in here. And now we are ready to close this up, and we'll give it a couple more hours and we'll be ready to take it off. Okay, so a little bonus here. I am also going to make my favorite dish in a crock pot, which is the Rotel cheese dip. And we do this pretty consistently on game days because the kids love it, I love it, and we can feed a lot of people with it. So it's a good alternative. So for this, Rotel Dip, we're going to cut up a block of Velveeta cheese into squares. Alright, so we got it all cut up. Now we'll just drop it in here. Now we'll do the cream cheese. Next we'll take this stick of butter. And if you're wondering the amount of calories in this, then you probably shouldn't be eating this, because the last thing you want to think about when you're eating this type of food is calories, because there's a lot of them. Way, way too many of them. So you don't need a family size cream mushroom soup, just the small can will work just fine. We're going to dump a little bit of milk in there. And we always do the mild Rotel, just because I'm a big baby and can't handle spice. In a separate pan, we're going to ground up about 2 pounds of ground beef, and we're going to brown that, and then we are going to season that once it's done with just some generic taco seasoning from the grocery store. And then once it's cooked up as taco meat, then we'll dump it on top of this. That is our Rotel cheese dip, and we'll get back to making the chili. Alright, so we have the chili out on the smoker right now. I'm kind of watching it close because I just went out there and we had a bit of a grease fire going in there. So that smoker was well over 600 degrees, which is not really good. We don't want to get there. And when I opened it up, flames just shot out all over the place. So I had to close it up and let it die out a little bit and then get it going back up again. So we're at that point where we got it going again, and it looks like it's going to be okay. So I didn't damage the chili with it being in the cast iron pot. It really wasn't that big of a deal. And the flames were all below, so it just added to the temperature. So it cooked a little faster. So while that's doing it, I figured we'd show you the last step of the Rotel dip before it's ready to just sit there in that crock pot all day. So at this point now, we've got the ground beef all done. The taco seasoning's been added, so that's pretty much taco meat there. So we're just gonna take that taco meat and dump it right into the Rotel and the crock pot. Alright, so with that in there, I can now just mix it a little better. It's pretty much ready to cook. We'll cook this on high for about another hour, and then we'll move it to low, and it'll finish off, get to a more creamy texture, and then we'll be ready to serve it. So we'll be back here in a few minutes with the chili to show you the next step. Alright, so this chili is done, and as you can see, it's looking pretty good. So we've got it all ready, and now we just need to give it a try. So got my wife here. She is going to give this a try. You want to grab your bowl? Just a little sample size. There you go. Alright, give it a try. Tell me what you think.
I'd say yes to you again if you gave this to me.
Oh, okay. How's it taste?
Delicious. It's got just a hint of the smoky flavor. It's not overpowering. And it is so good.
Alright, well, we're going to go ahead and get this ready. I'm going to tear into some Rotel. Be sure to check out the other videos on my channel, like this video, subscribe, comment if you have any questions or anything you want to add. Thanks for watching.